My beloved child, I know this feeling far better than you realize, not because I have abandoned you, but because I have watched you carry this quiet burden for much longer than anyone else knows. There have been moments when you looked around the room and wondered why everyone else seemed to fit so naturally, while you felt like a stranger. No one said anything cruel. No one told you that you weren't welcome. Yet deep inside, your heart whispered the same painful question again and again. Why do I always feel like I don't belong here? Perhaps it happened at a family gathering. You watched your children talking about their busy lives. Your grandchildren laughed together. Conversations moved quickly from one topic to another. You smiled, nodded, and listened, but somehow you felt as though life had continued without you. It wasn't that your family didn't love you. It was simply that you no longer knew where your place was. Or maybe you've experienced it somewhere you never expected, inside my church. You arrived hoping to feel encouraged. You greeted people with kindness. You worshiped with everyone else. Yet as you walked back to your car, there was an ache inside your heart that you couldn't explain. You found yourself wondering why you could be surrounded by believers and still feel so alone. Perhaps you've even felt this way inside your own home. The rooms that were once filled with noise have grown quiet. The phone doesn't ring as often as it used to. The calendar has fewer visits. Days pass more slowly than they once did. Little by little, an unsettling thought begins to settle into your heart. Maybe I don't really belong anywhere anymore. My precious child, before that thought grows any stronger, I need you to hear my voice. That feeling did not come from me. I have never looked at you and wondered whether you were still worth loving. I have never questioned whether there is still a place for you. I have never forgotten your name, overlooked your tears, or stopped caring about the smallest details of your life. People may become distracted. Families grow busy. Friends move away. Communities change. The world moves faster than it used to. But none of those things have changed what is true in my eyes. The place you occupy in my heart has never been taken by someone else. It has never been reduced. It has never disappeared. You are not an afterthought to me. You are not someone I merely tolerate. You are not standing outside the door, hoping I might one day invite you in. You already belong. You belonged the day I formed you. You belonged the day I called your name. You belonged on every day you doubted yourself. And you still belong today. The enemy wants you to believe that being unnoticed by people means being forgotten by me. That is a lie. People see only what is happening around them. I see what is happening inside your heart. I know every silent disappointment, every lonely drive home, every birthday that felt different, every family gathering where you smiled even though something inside you quietly hurt. I have been there through every single moment. So today, stop measuring your worth by how included other people make you feel. Your identity has never depended on their acceptance. It has always rested safely in my love. And in the next few moments, I want to show you something that may surprise you, because the very place where you have felt like you don't belong may be the place where I have been preparing you for something far greater than you can see today. My beloved child. There is something I need you to understand today. The world has taught you to measure your value by acceptance. If people invite you, you feel included. If they remember you, you feel important. If they seek your opinion, you believe you still matter. But when those invitations become fewer, when the phone grows quieter, when conversations continue without you, your heart begins to wonder if your place has quietly disappeared. That is how the world measures belonging, but that has never been how my kingdom works. My child, your place has never depended on how many people notice you. It has never depended on how often your family calls. It has never depended on whether someone saves you a seat at the table or remembers your birthday. Your place has always been secured by something far greater. It was secured by my love long before anyone else ever knew your name. Do you remember the day I called David? The world saw only a forgotten shepherd boy standing in a field. Even his own father did not think he was important enough to bring before Samuel. David was left outside while his brothers stood proudly inside the house. To everyone else, he didn't seem to belong. But I already knew exactly where he belonged. He belonged in my plan. He belonged in my purpose. He belonged in my heart. People looked at appearances. I looked at his heart. My precious child, hasn't your life sometimes felt like David's? Perhaps you've watched others receive recognition while your faithfulness went unnoticed. Perhaps you've spent years loving your family, serving others, sacrificing quietly, expecting nothing in return. Then one day, you found yourself wondering if anyone even remembered all you had given. I remember. Every sacrifice, every prayer, every sleepless night, every meal you prepared, every tear you hid, every burden you carried, without asking anyone to carry it with you. Nothing you have ever done out of love has escaped my eyes. Not one act of kindness, not one whispered prayer, not one lonely evening. You may believe your best years are behind you. You may think your role has become smaller. But my child, purpose is not measured by how visible you are. Some of the greatest work I have ever done in a person's life happened when no one else was watching. Seeds grow underground long before anyone sees the harvest. Roots grow deep where no applause can reach them. And I have often done my deepest work in the quiet seasons people mistakenly call ordinary. So do not despise this season simply because it feels different. Different does not mean forgotten. Quiet does not mean abandoned. Hidden does not mean useless. Sometimes I gently remove the noise around you because I want you to hear my voice more clearly than ever before. Sometimes I allow earthly attachments to loosen so your heart will discover that its safest home has always been with me. You have spent so much time wondering whether you belong in this family, this church, this neighborhood, this season of life, that you have forgotten the one place where your belonging has never been questioned. You belong with me. That truth has never changed. It did not change when people overlooked you. It did not change when someone disappointed you. It did not change when you felt invisible. It did not change when you walked through grief. It did not change when your children became busy with their own lives. It did not change when familiar faces disappeared. It did not change when loneliness came knocking at your door. My child, there has never been a single day when heaven wondered whether there was still room for you. There has always been room. There has always been a place prepared for you in my presence. There has always been a purpose with your name on it. And if you will stop looking for your identity in the changing opinions of people, you will begin to discover a peace that no rejection can ever steal. Stay with me, because I want to show you why the place where you have felt the most unwanted may become the very place where my love shines through your life in ways you never imagined. There is one more truth I want to place gently into your heart today. The feeling that you don't belong did not begin yesterday. For some of you, it has followed you for years, perhaps even since childhood. Maybe you were the child who always felt different, the one who never quite fit in, the one who was misunderstood, the one who learned very early that it was safer to stay quiet than to risk being rejected. As the years passed, those experiences quietly became part of the way you saw yourself. Without realizing it, you stopped asking, "Where has God placed me?" and began asking, "What's wrong with me?" My child, there is nothing wrong with you because you long to belong. I created the human heart for relationship. I created you to love, to be loved, to encourage, to be encouraged. Even in the Garden of Eden, before sin entered the world, I said, "It is not good for man to be alone." Your desire to belong is not weakness. It is part of the way I created you. But somewhere along the journey, the enemy quietly changed that desire into a wound. Instead of simply wanting connection, you began believing you had to earn acceptance. You thought, if I work harder, maybe they'll value me. If I say yes to everything, maybe they'll include me. If I never complain, maybe they'll appreciate me. If I become who everyone expects me to be, maybe then I'll finally belong. So you spent years trying to become acceptable to everyone. You hid parts of yourself. You swallowed your pain. You apologized when you had done nothing wrong. You stayed silent to avoid conflict. You carried burdens that were never yours, because you were afraid that saying no would make people leave. My precious child, how exhausting that has been. How many years have you spent trying to earn something I freely gave you? You have never needed to earn a place in my heart. You have never needed to perform well enough for me to welcome you. You have never needed to hide your weaknesses so that I would keep loving you. When I look at you, I do not see someone trying to fit in. I see my beloved child. That identity is not something people can give you, and it is certainly not something people can take away. Remember Jesus. Many rejected him. Many misunderstood him. Many walked away from him. There were crowds that praised him one day and demanded his crucifixion a few days later. If the Son of God was rejected by people, do not believe rejection is proof that you have no value. Sometimes rejection simply means you are looking for acceptance in places that were never meant to define you. My child, stop asking people to tell you who you are. Let me tell you, you are chosen. You are known. You are deeply loved. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not a burden. You are not an accident. You are not too old. You are not no longer useful. Those are the lies that loneliness whispers. But my voice speaks something entirely different. Every morning that you wake up, there is still breath in your lungs because I still have a purpose for your life. There are still people who need your kindness. There are still prayers only you will pray. There are still lives your faith will quietly touch. You may not stand on a stage. You may never become famous. But heaven has never measured greatness the way the world does. In my kingdom, a quiet act of love, a faithful prayer, an encouraging word, a forgiving heart can echo into eternity. So stop believing that your value disappeared simply because your season has changed. Your season has changed. Your calling has not. And as you begin to see yourself through my eyes, instead of through the opinions of people, you will discover something beautiful. The place you have been searching for all your life was never a place at all. It was always my presence. And once your heart learns to rest there, no loneliness, no rejection, and no earthly disappointment will ever be able to convince you again that you do not belong. My beloved child, there is something I have been waiting to tell you. Not every place where you feel uncomfortable is the wrong place. And not every season of loneliness is a punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. You have prayed many times, "Lord, why am I here? Why does it feel like everyone else has found their place except me? Why do I feel like I don't belong anymore?" My child, what if the question is not, "Why am I here?" What if the real question is, "What is God preparing me for here?" Because I have never wasted one season of your life. Not one disappointment. Not one rejection. Not one lonely evening. Not one tear you cried after everyone else had gone home. Every moment has been seen. Every moment has been held in my hands. Even the seasons you wanted to escape, especially those seasons. Think about Joseph. Did he belong in the pit? Did he belong as a slave in Egypt? Did he belong in prison after doing what was right? From a human perspective, the answer would be no. Everything about his circumstances looked wrong. He could have easily believed that I had forgotten him. He could have concluded that he had been abandoned. But what Joseph could not see, I could already see. The pit was leading to the palace. The prison was leading to purpose. The delay was preparing him for the assignment I had already planned. My child, perhaps your story is not so different. Right now, you see the loneliness. I see the growth. You see the silence. I see your faith becoming deeper. You see closed doors. I see the doors that are not yet ready to open. You see yourself standing alone. I see myself standing beside you every single step of the way. There have been moments when you wished people understood you better, when you wished someone would simply notice how hard you were trying, when you wished your family would make more room for you, when you wished your church would call, when you wished your friends would remember. Those desires are understandable. But my child, if people had always given you everything your heart longed for, would you have sought me as deeply as you do today? Some of the sweetest conversations we have ever shared happened because no one else was there. Some of your most sincere prayers were born out of loneliness. Some of your greatest spiritual growth began the day your heart stopped depending on people for the security that only I can provide. That does not mean I want you to live without relationships. I created you for fellowship. I created families. I created the church. I created friendship, but none of those things were ever meant to replace me. When people become the foundation of your identity, every disappointment shakes you. But when I become your foundation, even disappointment cannot destroy your peace. My beloved child, I know you still long to feel connected. That desire is not wrong, and I am not asking you to stop loving people. I am asking you to remember where your deepest belonging has always been found, not in the approval of others, not in being invited, not in being noticed, not even in being understood. Your truest home has always been in my presence. There, you never have to prove yourself. There, you never have to compete for attention. There, you never have to wonder whether you are welcome. The door has never been closed to you. My arms have never been folded against you. My heart has never questioned whether you belong. You do. You always have. And one day, perhaps much sooner than you think, you will look back on this season with different eyes. You will realize that the place you once believed was empty was actually filled with my presence. The season you called lonely was the season I drew closest to you. The place where you thought you didn't belong became the place where you learned that your identity could never be taken away by the opinions of people. So don't lose heart. Don't give up on the place where I have you today. I am still writing your story, and I promise you this, when my work is complete, you will understand that I was never pushing you away. I was gently leading you to discover the one place where you would always, forever belong. With me, my beloved child, before we finish our time together today, I want you to carry one truth with you, not just for today, not just for this week, but for every season that still lies ahead. Whenever the enemy whispers, "You don't belong here," I want you to remember my voice. When you walk into a room and feel invisible, remember my voice. When the phone doesn't ring, remember my voice. When the holidays feel quieter than they used to, remember my voice. When your children become busy, when friends drift away, when another birthday reminds you that life has changed, remember my voice. I have never stopped calling you my beloved child. Your place in this world may change. Your responsibilities may change. Your relationships may change. Even your body will change as the years pass. But my love for you will never change. The world may define people by what they can accomplish. I never have. I have always loved you simply because you are mine. Nothing you have lost has changed that. Nothing you fear will change that. Nothing anyone says about you can change that. You belong to me, and because you belong to me, you will never truly be alone. I will walk beside you in every unfamiliar place. I will remain with you in every season of change. I will comfort you when loneliness finds its way into your heart. I will strengthen you when you begin to doubt your worth. And I will remind you again and again that your identity has never depended on being accepted by the world. It has always rested safely in my hands. So today, lift your head. Do not let rejection define you. Do not let loneliness convince you that your story is over. The best place you could ever belong is the place where you already are, in my love, and nothing in heaven or on earth will ever separate you from it. So rest your heart. You are wanted, you are known, you are deeply loved, and you have always belonged to me. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you for reminding me today that my identity is found in you, not in the opinions or acceptance of other people. When I feel overlooked, forgotten, or out of place, help me remember that I have always had a place in your heart. Heal every wound caused by rejection and loneliness. Replace my fear with your peace, my insecurity with your truth, and my sadness with the joy that comes from knowing I am your beloved child. Teach me to see myself the way you see me. Give me the courage to stop seeking my worth in places that can never truly satisfy my soul. Help me to rest in the unchanging love that you have poured out for me through Jesus Christ. No matter where life leads me, remind me that I never walk alone, because you are always with me. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. If this message spoke to your heart today, write, "I belong to God" in the comments as your declaration of faith. And if you know someone who has been quietly struggling with loneliness or feeling like they don't belong, share this message with them today. It may be the reminder they have been praying for. May God bless you, keep you, and fill your heart with His perfect peace. I'll be with you again in the next message.